Mommy, Mommy, wake up, wake up. As I slowly opened my eyes, my daughter's anxious face was close to mine. Sarah, what happened? Mommy, please don't be with Daddy anymore. It would be better if you split up. What? What are you saying? With that surprising remark, my drowsiness vanished instantly. What on earth did she just say? I want you to break up with Daddy. I clearly heard those words from her mouth. Why would you say that? Well, the revelation that followed from my daughter was a piercing truth. I, Emma Simpson, am a 34 years old working mother. I work full-time as a salesperson at a major insurance company. Because I have to drop off and pick up my daughter from the daycare. Working late into the night is challenging. That means I must complete all my assigned tasks between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. I've been in this industry since before I got married, and before I realized it, over 10 years had passed. I've gained experience and established my position in the company. Just because I have a family doesn't mean I can put my work on the back burner. Why am I working so hard? For my daughter, Sarah. Sarah recently turned 5 and is a bright and intelligent child. I'm often amazed that such a mature child is ours. As parents, we want to provide Sarah with various experiences and lessons. But in today's age, almost everything requires money. For Sarah's future, I need to make as much effort as possible to increase our income. I strive every day in case something unforeseen happens. Many might think you don't need to work so hard. Your husband earns too, right? Indeed, my husband does work. So why the urgency? To put it plainly, my husband's salary is unstable. Although Keith is affiliated with a general company, its performance has been declining in recent years, and his salary is decreasing. Recently, it's about a third of my salary. Honestly, it's tough to rely on him financially. Just the other day, after Sarah had gone to sleep, Keith hesitantly approached me. Emma, can I borrow some money? For what? I haven't even received this month's living expenses yet. I promise I'll give it all back next month. I had several drinking parties this month and other expenses. I'm short on money. And wait, did you spend your entire monthly salary by yourself? I can't believe it. I'm sorry, but I couldn't refuse. Seriously. Lately, this has been Keith's behavior. He always finds a reason not to give the agreed-upon living expenses and even asks me for money. The usual reasons are drinking parties or financial support for his parents. I can't verify if he's genuinely spending money for those reasons, but I've lost the will to confront him. However, it seems he always relies on my money. What would he do if I didn't lend it to him? Recalling our previous conversations, he said he finds it hard to save on his income and that his bank balance is almost zero. That means if he needs money, he'd have to borrow it somewhere, potentially leading to debt. With a 5-year-old daughter, I want to avoid such a future at all costs. I don't want Sarah to think of her father as financially irresponsible. That sentiment has always led me to lend money to Keith. Understood. Is $200 enough? You're a lifesaver, Emma. I promise I'll pay you back all at once next month. You always say that, but you've never paid me back even once, have you? Well, I'm sorry, but I'll definitely pay you back next month. From now on, I'll decline invitations to drinking parties. You better think it through. First of all, we have to think about Sarah. I know. I wonder if he really understands. I hate to doubt Keith, but it's hard not to. Sigh. I couldn't help but let out a deep sigh. The reason I support him so much is not just because I love my husband. He's a wonderful father to Sarah. Every weekend, he makes sure to spend at least one day with Sarah. One day when Sarah woke up, Keith suggested, Emma, I'm playing with Sarah. Why don't you go out and change your mood a bit? But I have chores to do. Don't worry about it. We can order something for lunch, and as for the house, I'll handle what I can. Ha ha. Really, Sarah, can you wait? Playing with just you and Daddy, rubbing her sleepy eyes and smiling, Sarah hugged me and said, Yo, I'm okay if I'm with Daddy. I see. Maybe I'll go shopping for a bit then? Yay. Oh, but buy something for me as a souvenir too. Got it. I'll buy your favorite bread and bring it back. Really? Yay. Thank you, Mommy. At just 5 years old, Sarah is surprisingly well behaved. Of course, I wouldn't leave her alone at home, although I'm a bit anxious about leaving her with my husband. Just in case, I've placed a note with my phone number in Sarah's bag. I always tell her, call me if something happens. I'm sure it'll be fine. That day, I went shopping alone for the first time in a while. But even after looking around the department store, I just couldn't feel like searching for something I wanted. In the end, I didn't buy anything for myself. Instead, I chose some clothes that I thought Sarah would like and brought back her favorite chocolate croissant. And I'm back. As I opened the door, Sarah energetically ran to me, greeting me with a big smile. Mommy, welcome back. How was shopping? Did you have fun? I'm back, Sarah. It's been a while, so I enjoyed it. Here's the souvenir I promised. Wow, chocolate croissant. And there's clothes I like too. Shall we eat it tomorrow morning? Wait, where's Daddy? Oh, Daddy's on the phone on the balcony. On the phone? Who's he talking with? When I peeked out to the balcony, Sarah was right. My husband was happily chatting on the phone while smoking. When I tapped on the window, he looked surprised and quickly ended the call, saying, "You're back already?" Yes, I'm back. Who were you on the phone with? Though, well, it was a work thing. Really? Leaving Sarah alone inside the house? I'm sorry. It came up suddenly. Sorry, Sarah. When my husband smiled sheepishly at Sarah, she looked upset and said, Mommy, did you know? Daddy said he'd play with me, but he was on the phone a lot today. Really? Yes, that's right. Even though you said we'd read the picture book together. When I glanced at my husband, he looked down, appearing apologetic. That night, as usual, we had dinner as a family, and I took a bath with my daughter. Because I had made her feel lonely during the day, I tried to spend as much time as possible with Sarah. When Sarah had finally fallen asleep, I began a serious conversation with my husband. Keith, are you really that busy? It seems like you're always on work calls, even on weekends. Oh, yeah. The workload has increased, and I've been doing a lot of overtime. So, the reason you're coming home late recently is because of overtime. Not going out drinking. Yes, it's because of work. Also, while I was on the phone, I made sure to keep an eye on Sarah. It's work, so please understand, okay? But Sarah looked really lonely. From now on, when I go out, I'll take Sarah with me. If you're going to be swamped with work, let me know in advance. Understood. I'm going to bed now. Saying goodnight, Keith took his cell phone and went to the bedroom. For the past 6 months or so, Sarah and I had been sleeping in the same bed more often, and it had become customary for Keith to sleep alone in the bedroom. While I was happy to sleep with Sarah, I couldn't deny that my time as a couple with Keith had been reduced. Keith seemed content with the situation and didn't complain. If all the family members are content with the current situation, that's the best. However, while I am, of course, Sarah's mother, I'm also Keith's wife. As a woman, I felt a touch of loneliness deep in my heart. And then, one evening, Mommy, hey, wake up, startled by her sudden shout. I rubbed my eyes and sat up to find Sarah with a serious look on her face. I glanced at the clock nearby. It was 2 a.m. In the dark, quiet room, Keith must be sleeping too. I slowly sat up and asked Sarah, What happened, Sarah? Mommy, I have a request. A request? What is it? I want you to break up with Daddy. What? Those words instantly cleared my drowsy mind. What did Sarah just say to me? Mommy, I want you to break up with Daddy. Sarah had indeed said this. Trying to hide my shock, I looked into her eyes. Why would you say something like that? Because, Mommy, if things stay this way, you're in danger. Danger? What do you mean? I'm fine. But Dad, he wants to hurt you. What happened, Sarah? Tears streamed down from Sarah's eyes. She cried for a while but seemed to calm down as I stroked her back. Earlier, when I woke up to go to the bathroom, I heard a voice on the phone from Daddy's room. Really? What was he talking about? He said it would be good if Emma had an accident, and that way we can get the insurance money. What's insurance money? But I understood they were talking about intentionally hurting you. Why, Keith? Why? Also, Daddy said I love you on the phone. Not to you, but to someone else. Why? Sarah, you'll be fine, I promise. Tears welled up again in the eyes of my daughter, who looked at me with concern. Sarah is only 5 years old. No, she's already 5. She understands the situation more than I could have imagined. Sensitive Sarah can probably sense the behavior and atmosphere of adults. In fact, children are often very sensitive to these aspects of their parents. Despite her young age, she must be worried about my safety. At that moment, tears flowed from my eyes, filled with gratitude for Sarah and anger and sadness towards my husband. Such a little girl, yet she's trying so hard to protect me. Since Sarah took the courage to speak up, I must take action too. I have to do something about this situation myself. As I looked at Sarah, I began to speak slowly. Sarah, I'm going to talk about something important now. Please listen carefully. I understand. And if what you said earlier is true, then the relationship between Mommy and Daddy can't continue. Yes. I'm thinking of leaving this house. What will you do, Sarah? She was silent for a moment, deep in thought. But then, she looked at me firmly and answered, I want to be with Mommy. Are you sure about that? Yes. I want to be by Mommy's side. I can't be without you. Thank you, Sarah. Let's go. Got it. I told her to gather her essentials. Quietly yet swiftly, Sarah began to pack her backpack. She seemed to be careful not to alert her father. I hadn't realized she had grown up to be so responsible. Touched by my daughter's growth, I too prepared to leave. Leaving my wedding ring on the living room table, we set out. It was still dim at 5 a.m. When I rang the doorbell at my parents' house, my sleepy-looking mother came out. Emma, and even Sarah, what happened to bring you here so early? I'm sorry for the sudden visit, Mom. Can we stay here for a while? Of course, but what happened? There's something I need to discuss with you and Dad. Can we come in? After showing me to the living room, my mother put Sarah to bed in the adjacent room. Sarah seemed very tired and quickly fell asleep. A warm cup of tea my mother made for me was on the table in the living room. Taking a sip, I calmed down and began to speak. It seems Keith is planning to cause an accident involving me. Hearing this, my parents were speechless. My father, trying to keep his composure, asked, What are you saying? Why would Keith? Sarah told me. She overheard Keith talking on the phone. He told the person on the other end that he loved her. I suspect he's having an affair. That's unbelievable. An affair. But Sarah only overheard the call. How can you prove it? I brought Keith's tablet. If we look into it, things will be clear. His tablet. I took out the tablet Keith always uses from my bag. I assumed he wasn't using his phone to communicate with his lover, which meant he must be using this tablet. When I opened the tablet, it seemed it wasn't locked. As I hesitantly navigated the tablet's screen, my suspicions turned into certainty. When I opened the email app, there were many exchanges with a woman I didn't know. This, what my mother pointed at, was a detailed plan to cause an accident involving me. I quickly took photos of the emails as concrete evidence and printed out the conversation for further reference. At that moment, I heard the ringtone of my cell phone from inside my bag. Looking at the screen, it was a call from Keith. With a firm attitude, I answered the call and switched to speaker mode. Hello, what's up? Emma, where are you? I woke up and no one was in the house. I'm surprised. Is that all you wanted to say? Huh? What do you mean? I'm worried about the two of you. Worried? How dare you can say that? Aren't you planning to get me caught in an accident? What? Why? I could tell from his voice over the phone that Keith was greatly shaken. He must have been astounded to find out that I knew about the secret plan he had made. He probably used to call his mistress while I was asleep. Knowing that I was aware of everything, he must be completely confused. And he probably hasn't realized that I have a reliable ally in Sarah. I heard it from Sarah. You set me up for the accident intentionally to claim insurance money? Sarah said. That's a lie. That can't be true. And what can't be? Sarah told me about your conversations with your mistress. I know all about your plan to harm me and claim the insurance money. Why would she? Just as I thought. Both the affair and the accident plan are real. My husband, having inadvertently admitted the truth, seemed to be at a loss for words. This confirmed that Keith was indeed guilty. Sigh. I didn't think you were this much of a scumbag. I will raise Sarah properly. Why don't you go live happily with your mistress? I never want to deal with someone like you again. Remember this. I will never forgive this betrayal, I unintentionally shouted at Keith on the other end of the call. Without waiting for his reply, I hung up the phone. It seems my raised voice woke up my daughter. Mommy, are you okay? Sorry, Sarah, did I wake you up? No, don't worry about it. What happened with Daddy? It's okay, it's all over. You don't have to worry anymore. Really, are we safe? Can we always be together from now on? I nodded and smiled at my daughter's bright eyes. And then I held Sarah tight and gently. Soon after, I chose to divorce Keith. Through my lawyer, I successfully claimed a significant amount in child support. Normally, my husband's plan would certainly warrant police intervention. But thinking of Sarah, I didn't want that kind of commotion. I completely severed ties with Keith and left the child support and other compensation issues to my lawyer. From what I heard, he was abandoned by both his parents and his mistress shortly thereafter. He is now struggling to pay child support and property division. On the other hand, Sarah and I started our life in a new house. Sarah started her life in a new nursery school and was able to fit in quickly, seeming to enjoy every day. In the future, there will likely be many challenges for us. However, with my absolute partner, Sarah, I believe that we can overcome anything that comes our way.